Hi everyone. So the purpose of the screencast is to show off the attacking system that is exists on that currently exists on the latest version of the game. So notice this branch is not the master branch. So I'm just gonna solely explain and discuss about the. So I can just narrow it down into the enemy attack without any distraction. So this screencast is gonna be a lengthy one because enemy attack requires a lot of explaining to do. So notice there's like a lot of niche like sound effects and an animation that will be discussed on how I implement it on the next screencast. So this one is just solely on the features, so like for how user would attack, and then how the damage is calculated, and then how do I interact that with the health bar that is currently just a draft health bar. It's just like a green, and then like it's reduced every time the enemy attack, and then how it also interact with the end turn features. So in this brand's turn base is already implemented, so I can demonstrate it later on. So uh, but beware, this version of the enemy attack does not have calculation for range, does not have calculation whether if there is any obstacle in the shooting course, if that makes sense. And then it doesn't also calculating the grid and everything. So it's really early draft. So what the only thing that is implemented as we intended in the paper prototype is the damage calculation, and then whether it's actually shooting the other bot and stuff like that. So notice already I'm so sorry. The format of the screencast is gonna be I gonna demonstrate how it looked like on the user perspective, and then what is the happy path of the user, how would they attack, and then I would discuss the code base behind it. So if people need to rectify or add range calculation and obstacle checking and stuff like that, they can uh, use this screencast as reference. Now, notice I'm already run the game, and then in order to demonstrate the enemy attack, I need at least two players. So I have an instance of the game on the phone running. Now I cannot show off the phone perspective because it's kind of hard to record and screencast with the OBS at the same time. I will work that in the future screencast, but then you can able to see how the enemy attack work anyway from one side of the perspective. So we are going to see the perspective on the laptop, which is the host on the game. So I'm just gonna start the game. And just set the webcam now. This is it's kind of hard to see which is which now, but the way I set it up for spawning is the one that is on the edge here is always the host of the game, which in this case is the laptop, and then the one that is kind of in the middle of the image is the phone, or the second player that is the one that is not host. Another way to detect that as well, if you see the banner here, if it says not selected or selected like this, and it is your turn, and then if it's saying false, then it's not the player turn. And now it's a dummy way to set up this, but basically the turn base is set up that the host will always have the first turn. We might want to change that in a bit, but for now we just want to demonstrate the technical side of the features. So now the way a player will able to attack is to select their bot first. So you can see it's alternating with the selected and non-selected, and then they click attack. That will goes to attacking mode, as you can see in the console, but obviously the player will not see that. And then after they click attack, they choose the enemy bot, for example, like that. So as you can hear, there's a sound effect playing, like a gun, a machine gun sound effects played, and then you can see the health bar of the enemy is reduced from 150 into 90. I think that was 150. Now, notice that the end turn button is vanished here, so that means that your turn is done. So you can see as well it's false. So I cannot really interact anymore. You can see I cannot click anything, so that means that is the phone. So for the sake of the phone, I'm just gonna end turn. So the laptop can go again because I'm not able to show off from the phone perspective. Now, same thing, you can choose again and then attack, maybe this time this bot. So you can see as well, the damage are kind of different. I will explain the calculated damage when we discuss the code base. But if we keep going until one of the HP is 0, so he's got 9 HP, so pretty close to death. And notice as well the health bar should change the color based on the HP percentage. So if I select that, and then it's closer to under 50, it turns to orange instead of just straight to red. And then if I below 20 or something, it's gonna be showing into red. Now if I attack this guy, it should be dead. And then I don't know whether you can hear that, but there is a slight explosion there. I think the delay on that sound effect is too much. I need to turn that on, turn that up. But it's basically just destroy the bot when the HP is 0. So that is the extent on how the attacking system works right now. As you can see, there's no, in terms of playability, it's really minimal. You can basically shoot with no risk at all, with no range, with no obstacle calculation. But it's, for now, we are focusing on the damage calculation stuff. So now that the demo is out of the way, so let's see the script. So all of those attacking are happening on the bot controller, because the one, even though it seems that the player that does the attacking stuff, in the end of the day, if you go really detailed, it's the bot, individual bot, that does the attacking. So we don't have like all bots in one single player to attack at the same time. So that's why. So if you notice, there's a lot of details and a lot of steps going on there for the attacking. So that's why it's going to be a lengthy one to explain all of the code that is related to the animation. So that will just free up spaces here. So now, if you remember from the action selection, or if you have checked the action selections windows, so it's basically that button that we just click. It's basically the attack button is just calling the bot controls attack methods. So it just goes to here. Now, why is it not working when we haven't selected the own player bot? Is because we have this tag here in the very early. So it's basically if the bot itself is selected, and then it's the player turn. So if it's not your turn, you cannot select anything, and then if you're not selected, you cannot just, even though it's your turn, you cannot just press random things and start attacking. So you need to select which bot you want to attack from, because each bot have different stats. So like Tang would have higher damage, and Troop would have lower damage and stuff like that. So all this function does is just switch attacking mode to true. So it does attacking mode is where we call, the phase after we press the button into selecting the enemy button. So that is what I call attacking mode. So when we switch the attacking mode true, it goes into here. So it's not actually calling the methods, but this methods is calling in the update. So every frame is checking whether the attacking mode is true or false. So as soon as it's switched into true, the game, at least for the player, goes into attacking mode. Now what attacking mode does is it is overriding the input of mouse down button, so the left mouse, that is going to translate on Android to be your tab. So when attacking mode is true, your next tab input is going to be detected as enemy. So before, this is a huge difference, because before if the attacking mode false, everything tab input that you directed into the bot is going to be selecting your own bot. Now when the attacking mode is true, every tab input that you directed to a bot type is going to be an attack. So it has to be an enemy. So that's why after checking the input and then checking if it hits something, we need to check whether the game object has the parent of the opposite player. So because we don't want the bot to attack its own player. So if it's a bot, if the game object is the opposite, the opponent's player, we now check whether it's a bot. So if it's a bot of the opponent, so it must have been one of the bot that is from the opponent player, if that makes sense. Now after we confirm that it is the enemy bot, we do kind of a random calculation damage. So if you remember from our paper prototype, we set out the damage is a random number of 1 to 20 plus whatever the stat is. For example, if we can see here in the prefab in a few moments, prefab player troop. So you can see in the stat here. So troop will have 120 health and then the attack damage of 30, and then the Tang will have 150 and an attack damage of 50. Now, if so, the calculation is whatever the random damage from 1 to 20 plus the stat. So you can have like 30. Sorry, for troop, because the base damage is 30. So the lowest attack damage you can get is 31, and then the highest attack damage you can get is 50. So it's kind of introducing the randomness in there. So this is where you set up the random damage. So range from 1 to 21, and then it's calling an RPC of audio and start text. So we're gonna ignore this because this is an animation, and I'm gonna discuss that in a different script class. But for now, we're gonna care about this. So these two are getting RPC for attack audio methods and start damage methods. So what a Python view RPC does is calling all of the instances of a player. So that means local and over the network, which is laptop and my phone, if we're looking at it from the laptop perspective, to run this method. So why we want to run this method is because we want to sync the audio. So if the laptop does machine gun audio, the phone should hear it as well, even though the phone doesn't trigger it. The same with the start damage. So we want the laptop to update the damage of the opponent, and then we want the phone to have updated the damage when someone is attacking the phone. So that's why it has to be done over the network. Now, if we go to see these methods, so the first one is attack audio. So attack audio is basically just get the bot that it wants to take, because the parameters that it's taking is the bot name. So find the game object, the bot that is attacking. It is, for example, if I select my tank, then that's going to be my tank. So the reason why I need to select a specific bot is to introduce the 3Ds aspect of it. So it sounds like the sound is coming from that bot, but obviously it's not very clear because it's really loud and stuff like that. Now, so we can assign, we get the bot controller, and then we play the audio source for that attack sound. Now, if we see that on here, we have an audio source, and then we have attack sound and death sound. Now we can obviously improve that using instead of just like one variable, we can use it as an array. But for now, because there's no much sound effects, we just want to try how it works with variable. Now, this get a sound on the prefab as well. So if, for example, in the troop, we have an audio source called troop shot. So troop shot is the one that is the troop shot is the audio clip. So which clip is it gonna run? Now in the resources we have two here. So with Tang attack and troop shot. So Tang attack, I think we assigned that for the death. If I'm sorry, we can see here, not here. Bot enemy. But yeah, basically we can assign them assign the audio clip over there. Oh, sorry, here. No, never mind. I kind of forgot where to assign the audio clip. But yeah, I think we assign those audio clip into the attack and dash sound. So basically, if so, that's why when we call this function, we just say play it one time, and then that will play it fully. Now, obviously, by the sound of I'm explaining, and then like there's there's like a couple of bugs in the that have the I need to get more in depth on this, and then this is a place for improvement because the timing is a bit off, and then I haven't there's no timing in the script, so I can't really customize that in the script in a way. So which is it's a bit it's something that I need to know before going to polymorphism and then work well not polymorphism but like work into multiple different audios and then just put a single methods. But yeah, so that is the gist what the audio is working right now. So now after calling the audio, we start the damage. Now the damage here is start damage here is so this method is just simply start the coroutine. I will explain what it is now. So it's calling an IEnumerator instead of just a method of damage. So the purpose of this is because I don't want the damage to apply on when the animation is still working. So if you go back to the previous seconds or something when the demo is going on, so after the animation is kind of well, it's not even finished, but like in the mid of animation, it start reducing the health. So there's a timing on that because it's a bit weird when the animation is not done. So like basically the troop is lower that gun and then it's already damaged. This is basically just like the animation just not synced with the damage time. So that's why IEnumerator is able to wait 4 seconds here. So it's basically said, okay, so you should start damage, but wait for like 0.5 seconds. Now, by the time this is still a magic number, so 0.5 seconds is the way I come up with 0.5 seconds is basically just with the try on test. So like which one fits better on the animation of the attack. But obviously that's going to change if the animation is the animation itself is changed. So we need to have a better way to come up with the number here. But yeah, basically the IEnumerator is so start coroutine is basically like a mini update. That's how I would describe it. So start coroutine would call this damage, but every time it's still within the 0.5 seconds, it's gonna return and then start again, return, start again, return, start again, and then after 0.5, it will start to execute the rest of the thing. Now, the rest of the thing is we're taking the bot name, so the one that we want to reduce the health and then the bonus damage because we did the calculation over here. Now, the reason why we did the calculation here is because if we did the calculation over the RPC and then calling the start damage. So if we, for example, do the random damage on here or even in here, it will call the methods multiple networks, sorry, multiple instances. So like in this instance twice. That because it's a random damage, it will more likely it will generate a different number because when you, for example, it will for example, if this called in the laptop, and then laptop will have like 15 random damage, but at the same time it gets called on the phone as well, and then it might conjure up 14, 15, 11. So that's gonna have a damage overall. So like the laptop have like the laptop have 51, and the phone have like 53. So it's kind of a big deal to have the random kind of determine first before calling it over the network because this is going to be run twice for both instances of the laptop and phone. Now, what it does is just do a simple math of the reducing the target health. So it's just whatever it was, and then just reduce it with the attack damage and the bonus damage, and then update the health. Now, update the health has um, a interactive with the health bar with the UI that you saw. Now, so if So basically update health, same like attacking phase here, is get called every time in the update. So every time there's a damage or like there's something that you need to update the health, whether damage or heal, you can just, you know, switch the boolean into true and false. Now, the update one is basically just get the size delta of the UI, the health bar UI there. The text is basically just displaying the amount of health on the number, but the health bar rectangle is getting the delta, and then we want to set up the new size delta, which is like, you can see how it reduces the green bar, or like the green bar from full health into like whatever health it is. So basically you say the maximum number of health, we times that with the current health over the maximum health. Because for example, if the maximum width is 100, the maximum is 120, and then the current health is like 100, so that is like 100 times 100 over 120, so you get like only what, kind of 80% of the original 120. So that's how the percentage, so the max width is based, the current width of the health bar is based on the percentage of the health, and then obviously the height is going to be the same because we're not playing with the height. Now this statement right here is just the changing the color. So basically if it's like below 20% it's red, below 50% is like orange. So I have to make a color here because there's no enum for orange, and then like, I think the closest thing to that is yellow, and then like, it's not that good of a yellow. So that's why I just create a new orange there. Now, and then this is very important. So basically, if the health is lower than 0, I try to set the health to 0 first, so the text is you know, updated. See, so you don't see -17 and destroyed, but it doesn't work because I think it's not fast enough before the bot is destroyed. So like when the bot is gone off string, that is when the health is 0, which is, I need to play around with this. Now the start coroutine is pretty the same as well with the attacking. So destroy bot, basically I wanted to play the audio first, then after waiting for 0.3 seconds or something like that, then you can just destroy the bot. Well, we don't actually destroy it, we just hide it from the game. But yeah, so I mentioned that the death idea is too short, so maybe I need to prolong this to make the explosion play out first before this set active is false, because the voice, the audio itself is attached to the tag. If the tag is gone, the audio will, because it won't register that it's actually in the game. So that's why it's kind of cut off there for after waiting for 0.3 seconds. So it's quite lengthy screencast, but that is all the attacking phase. So in the overview, basically the button is just setting the boolean to go to attacking phase, and attacking phase is where you handle the next tab input is going to be the damage calculation and attacking and stuff like that. Otherwise, though, all of those is just updating the health and stuff that you can use that across any other function. But the one that is specific for attacking is this method here. So if you want to put a modification for like a range calculation and stuff like that, it should be in here. Okay, so I think that's it for attacking system, and I will see you in the next screencast. Thank you for listening.